Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Shravanam Diaries Podcast.
Reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Ihaiva terjita sargo yesham samyesthitam mana nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani testhita. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Purport. Equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is the sign of self-realization. Those who have all actually attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, specifically birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, sthira buddhira samudho, brahmavid brahmani sthita. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. Interesting. Self-intelligent, sthira buddhi. It's described in the purport. Purport. The symptoms of the self-realized person are given herein. The first symptom is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with his true self. He knows perfectly well that he is not this body, but is the fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is therefore not joyful in achieving something, nor does he lament in losing anything which is related to his body. This steadiness of mind is called sthira buddhi, or self-intelligence. Interesting. Because we know that we are fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we're not joyful in achieving something, we're not lamenting losing something related to the body. And this means we're self-intelligent, because this steadiness of mind is called sthira buddhi. He is therefore never bewildered by mistaking the gross body for the soul, nor does he accept the body as permanent and disregard the existence of the soul. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. He thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without falsely trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or self-realization. Such steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. Okay. Text 21. Bahyas pareshva saktatma Sparsheshva saktatma Vindatyatmani yat sukham Sa brahma yoga yuktatma Sukham akshayam ashnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Purport. Shri Yamunacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said, Yada vadhi mama chitah Krishna padaravinde Navanavara sadhaman yudyatam rantumasit Tadavadhi batanari sangame smaryamane Bhavati mukha vikara Sishthu nishthivanam cha. Quote. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought, and my lips curl with distaste. Unquote. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in terms of matter is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell, and the materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. Oh wow, this is a very strong statement, but it's very true. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. This is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. Because remember, a Krishna conscious person is enjoying the pleasure within, and as self-realized person, he enjoys unlimited happiness because he concentrates on the Supreme, on Krishna. Wow, let's just read this portion one more time. It's just so... the whole topic, all four verses were really, really important and deep, but this particular is just... So, a person... the whole world is moving under its spell, and the materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. Oh, I really love the next verse, but we shall read it tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The book links, previous episodes timeline, and biography of the author can be found on shravanamdiaries.com. The link is in the description, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare